I tried to film this yesterday, but I had a bit too much to drink and I was just babbling and babbling on. I wasn't making any sense, and I want this video to be shorter than my last one. So I've come out, I've got a clear head, outside, which is nice. So let's get to it. Superhero. I want to ask a question. Has there ever been a superhero movie that captures what it is like to see a superhero for the first time? Be kind of hard to do nowadays. This is a movie about three siblings: Oscar 17, Naomi 11, and Jamie 6. They live in a quiet coastal countryside town with their mother, who's a doctor working night shifts. One night there's a meteor shower and a meteorite crashes into a field just outside the Stokes siblings' house. But when they go and look at it, it's actually a space pod. And the space pod opens, and inside there appears to be a woman. Looks human, probably a couple of years older than Oscar. She's wearing like this really cool bioluminescent rainbow metric suit. Looks really cool. When she wakes up, she places her hand on Naomi's head and then passes out. They take her to the hospital where their mum sees them and explain, it was a car crash and we just outside our house and we thought it would be quicker just to drive her here. So they go home, but at the hospital, while the doctors are trying to treat the space lady, they're trying to inject a sedative into her, but the needle keeps breaking on the skin. The skin is impenetrable. And she wakes up and she's frantic, and she keeps saying the name, Naomi, Naomi, and she runs right through the wall outside to the hospital. Like, she crashes right through the wall and runs off into the night. The next morning, Naomi wakes up and she gets the sense that something's wrong with Space Lady. Like, she's almost got this empathetic psychic connection, which occurred when Space Lady grabbed Naomi's head, and Space Lady has used that connection to track down Naomi at her house. So the kids sneak Space Lady into the house, and Naomi calls her Star, just because she came from the stars. She also grabs Oscar's head, which Oscar's like, fuck off, but creates an even more psychic connection with another human, which allows her to understand English and even speak English and get a sense of where she is. But she has no memory of where she came from or what she's doing there. But also, Naomi thinks, doesn't this seem familiar? Naomi's a comic book fan, she's a superhero fan. She's been reading all of her brother's Oscar's comics, which he's kind of grown out of, and it's like, I'm done with that superhero stuff. But Naomi knows that this has happened in fiction. Space Lady has impenetrable skin, she seems super strong, and then we later find out that she can fly. So she shows Oscar, look, like a Superman comic. And I'm like, this is exactly this shit. So I know what you're gonna say, Brightburn. I came up with this in uni, way before Brightburn, and it was just one of those things where it's like, it was just an idea that I think anyone was gonna have anyway. But I wanted to do this like E.T., like an Amblin movie about three comic book fans who find a superhero in a world where no superheroes exist. Only our understanding of like DC and Marvel have it. And what the kids do is basically train Star to become a superhero. And this is the scene that I wanted to write, is when they tell her all about superheroes and what Star can do. They let her wear the bioluminescent rainbow suit and make a cape for her, and then she hears distress out on the coast. What has happened is, during a storm, two container ships collided into each other and they're both sinking. So Star flies out, lifts both of them up with each hand and flies them safely towards the harbour, while a crowd are lining up the coast watching this happen and filming it on their phones. And I wanted it to be like that moment in Jurassic Park where our main characters see a dinosaur for the first time. Everyone cannot believe what they're seeing, their entire understanding of the world has changed, and that's it, it's everywhere now, it's on the news. That's the moment I wanted to capture, because I don't think that's been done before. And then as the movie goes on, basically Star is getting all her superhero knowledge and all her knowledge from the world, and basically her sense of morality, from children. So when it comes to Star's understanding of the grey areas of how the world works, and who exactly is a good guy and a bad guy, because remember, this was another thing, what if a superhero existed where there are no supervillains? Who do they go after? So I wrote like scenes where she's trying to like deal with like crises in the Middle East, and the kids are like, no, that's complicated, don't get involved with that, but she does it anyway. There's also a scene where it's almost like a Black Lives Matter protest where armoured police are shooting at protesters, so Star goes in and saves the protesters but ends up beating the shit out of a lot of military police, and the kids are like, okay, this is bad. This is not a situation she should be involved in. She should just be doing normal superhero stuff. But how can you determine normal superhero stuff in a world where superheroes don't exist and supervillains don't exist? Meanwhile, the government have found the space pod because they left it there. So there's like a real Men in Black kind of bureaucratic response to this. And they're trying to figure out what the hell to do. And then what happens is that there's also a scene kind of at the end of the second act where Oscar and Naomi go to her, look, maybe you should lay low because you're kind of getting involved with things you shouldn't be involved with. And Star is like, but no, this is what you told me to do. You told me to be a superhero. Look, I'm fighting bad guys. It's like, they're not really bad guys. They're just people doing their job, I guess. And Oscar's like, look, I'm calling it, okay? This was a dumb idea to begin with. You should stop. And Star's looking at him like, what if I don't want to stop? And Oscar's like, what do you mean? And Star is like, if you tried to stop me, how would you do it? You can't even, how can you stop me? And Oscar's looking at Naomi like, Naomi, get behind me. So Star kind of goes AWOL, and now the kids are like, we need to go to the authorities. And then the final act would be the confrontation between Naomi and Star, because over the course of the movie you have Naomi and Star, Naomi kind of mentoring her but also developing like a sister relationship. Also there's some funny scenes where Oscar tries to flirt with Star because you got a girl who's kind of his age just hanging out like hidden in his house, and you know he's an hormonal teenage boy, so he tries to flirt with her but she just has no idea what flirting is. Yeah, I wanted to basically do a superhero movie in a style of like a 1980s Amblin movie but set in the modern day. I wrote this in uni at a time when I think Marvel's The Avengers was coming out and I was really into superheroes and comic books. I haven't gone off them, but I think it would be hard to do that movie now because obviously so much has changed in terms of blockbuster cinema, and there's so many films that try and invert like the superhero morphology. There's been Kick-Ass, there's been Brightburn, there's been Deadpool, there's been Super, there's been so many that it would be kind of hard to do that movie now, so that's one of the ones I'm just gonna let lie. But God, would I have loved to seen a moment in a superhero movie that was like that moment in Jurassic Park when they see a dinosaur for the first time. You can't do that now because you couldn't do that in the Marvel universe because everyone's so used to superheroes now. I think what I've realized is that because now we've seen it all, I feel like we've lost our sense of wonder when it comes to seeing things in movies. There's very little to be surprised by anymore. We're never going to get that moment again. We're never going to have the Spielberg face again, you know, when you see something extraordinary, because everything extraordinary has already been done. We've been to Pandora, we've seen Iron Man fly, we've seen a motherfucking dinosaur. It's like that line in Jurassic World, people are bored of dinosaurs. But as we've seen, just making a mutant dinosaur ain't gonna help either. I don't know. But yeah, holy shit, I did that under the 10 minutes. I wanted to keep this short. There was more stuff in the story, but it would have gone on way too long. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments on YouTube, or just get in touch with me, because probably the people watching this know me anyway, and I probably won't even read the comments. Alright, this was nice to do this outside. I mean, it's lovely here. Alright, I'm gonna go now. Bye.